Oops, oops, oops. All right. Let's, okay. Mine is now muted.
Yours is muted. Okay. So sorry, we just,
That whole thing was muted.
yeah, so if you could, so we're here for
Want me to
this,
request again?
the Sila celebration, and I'm Aya Sivijana. This is Aya Nyanika who's gonna lead it, and we have a friend here who will be requesting the precepts.
We, Venerable Sister, request the 3 refuges and 5 precepts. For the second time, we, Venerable, request the 3 refuges and 5 precepts. For the third time, we, Venerable, request the 3 refuges and 5 precepts.
Sadhu. So I'll say Namo Tassa 3 times, and then you repeat saying it 3 times. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
And the refuges are in awakening, in the truth of the Dhamma, and in the Sangha of those who have awakened. And we'll do this line by line in Pali. Bhutang saranang gacchami.
Buddham saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Buddham saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Dhammam saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi Sangham saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi Buddhan saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi Dhamman saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatyampi Sangham saranang gacchami.
Tisaranagamana niti tang. This completes the taking of the 3 refuges. And the 5 precepts will do, I'll say the Pali, and then you can repeat the Pali and speak out the English.
Okay.
Anatipata veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Anatipata veramani sikapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Adina dana veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Adina dana veramani sikapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
Kami sumicha chara veramani sikapadang samadhiyami.
Kami sumi shachara veramani sikapadam samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from sexual misconduct.
Musawada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami.
Musawada Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from false and harmful speech.
Sura Meraya Majapamardartana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami.
Sura Meraya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drinks and drugs, which leads to carelessness.
This completes the taking of the 5 precepts. Imani sika padani silena sugatim yanti silena boga sampada silena niputim yanti tasma silang visodaye. These are the precepts for training. Virtue is the source of happiness. Virtue is the source of true wealth. Virtue is the source of peacefulness. Therefore, let virtue be purified.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Yeah, I'll go back in. Go ahead and keep going. Doesn't matter. You're fine.
So, this is real a celebration of our goodness. This is a wonderful opportunity just to affirm that goodness and rededicate ourselves as often as we can to keeping these precepts. And I just say again and again, if everyone kept the 5 precepts, then how much happier everyone would be, how much safety there would be in the world. And so this is kind of, the ideal world, but we can create more of it for ourselves. If we keep these precepts, and it's a source of happiness for those around us. So I think it does make a big effect in the world. The more people that dedicate these ourselves to these at least these 5 precepts, so they're a source of happiness, true wealth, and peacefulness. But today I wanted to speak about mindfulness, which is it's often spoken about, but I don't think it's just like Sila. It's not something that can be talking about too often, to be spoken about too often, mindfulness, because mindfulness is something that can be used. It's always useful. It's always important to have some degree of mindfulness in whatever we're doing. Let's see if we're gonna get this. There it goes. So whatever we're doing, it's good to be present. It's good to be aware. And there's a word in Pali, it's sati, is the word for mind that's usually translated as mindfulness. And that has various meanings. I could use some too, probably. That's okay. Thank you. Someone's gonna help me with some water. Thank you very much.
Mindfully noticing the coughing and somebody is helping us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. So sati is translated as mindfulness, but it's also awareness, presence, or being aware of the present moment, and it also remembrance or remembering. The original translation of the original word that sati actually, the idea of sati was remembering, but if you, it works in with the idea of being present and being aware, because we're remembering what we're doing. We're remembering why we're doing. We're remembering to do it with awareness and carefully. So I can remember to take the door handle very carefully and turn it carefully and then shut it behind me with care. I can remember to speak truthfully, to speak kindly, and all my acts, this remembrance, to remember to be kind, remember to be caring. This is all an aspect of the sati, that it's also in the Karaniya Metta Sutta, it talks about, this is a Karaniya Metta is usually what we call just the Metta Sutta, or the teaching on loving kindness. And in that sutta, it talks about remembering to have a heart of metta, of loving kindness at all times. One should sustain this recollection throughout all our activities. So it's remembering to be kind, it's remembering to be honest, it's remembering and all our activities through body, speech, and mind. And it also helps with keeping our precepts and also remembering why we're keeping our precepts. So we're aware of what we're doing, why we're doing it, as we're doing it. So often we get lost in the past or the future, and then we get very distracted, and then we're more likely to make mistakes. We're more likely to slam the door. We're more likely to say something cruel because we've gotten irritated and distracted and worrying about the future, or remembering something that we did in the past, and then so we get lost to we're lost to the present moment. We're not fully there with whoever we're with or whatever we're doing. So this awareness, this being present, this presence is so important, to just be present and just be peaceful. And just being at peace with the present moment, being at peace with what's occurring. Because if we start resisting what's happening in our environment and wanting things to be otherwise, then we kind of get at war with reality of how things are, how things are in this present moment. So we're not in a line with reality. We're not in accordance with reality if we want to push away, or we want to try to be in the future. I'm thinking, I've got to improve my situation. How am I going to do it? And the wheels start spinning, and then we're lost. We're not with what's really occurring, and we can't care for what's happening in our lives, what's happening right at the present moment. So this is caring for ourselves and caring for things around us and people around us, people in our environment. I just like to think that this can bring joy in our lives, because we're not in conflict with what's occurring, even if it's something we don't particularly want that's happening. Maybe we're sick. Maybe the tire gets flat in the car. Maybe, you're expecting people to come and they're late. So we're adding extra suffering if we're saying, I don't want things to be this way, instead of, oh, well, how can I care for this moment? How can I care for myself if I'm sick, or my friend who's injured, or what should I do about this tire that's flat? And so just to be fully present with what's happening, and not let aversion take over the mind, not let this pushing away and or stressing out or resisting. So just being present, just being at peace, just being accepting of what's happening. So it doesn't mean like there's that word that you're complacent or you don't care or something like that. There is that care. The caring should be there with it. This is a part of being mindful is doing things with a lot of care, with a lot of consideration. If we can, like if there's a problem and we can care for it well, then the mindfulness is really helpful. If there's something that's really beyond our control, there's nothing we can do with it. How do we care for our hearts? How do we care for others around us? If some terrible thing is happening in our lives, how do we care for that? So the mindfulness will help us just, if we stay present with it, stay peaceful with it, but also use wisdom and mindfulness. If we're very aware, what mindfulness can foster wisdom. Because if we're willing to be really present, then we can really look at what's going on, what's happening, what choices can I make in this situation? And this is mindfulness supports all of that. Just willing to really stay in the present with what's going on. So we don't try to run away into the past or future or distract ourselves. In this society, it's really easy to distract ourselves. And there's so many devices. I'm guilty of it too. Like, yeah, I was a cell phone looking, checking, and so every time we do those kind of things, we can get really lost in what is that rabbit hole, really lost in something that's just really gets us more and more out of touch with reality, what's really occurring in our lives. If we have something to help ground us in mindfulness, like mindfulness of the body is always in the present moment. Our felt experience of the body is always in the present moment. So if we bring awareness to feeling the support of like I'm sitting on a cushion here or sitting in a chair, or if you're standing, if you get really distracted, if I get distracted, I'll just bring my awareness back to the body. Like if I'm standing, I might even feel my feet on the floor. You can bring awareness to the in and out breathing. And this mindfulness is this is a classic thing, to be mindful of our breath, mindful of our body. And so we can do that in sitting meditation. We can do that in walking meditation, but we can also throughout the day bring our awareness back to the body, the experience of the body. Also, if we're with others too, our awareness to what's going on with them, being aware of who is in our environment. And we can't really know what they're experiencing, but we can still, we learn how to coexist by all these very subtle communications of body language and speech, and how do we be there present with others as well. So there's the meditation on the cushion with the eyes closed, and there's also the being present and being peaceful with others. And if we make that a priority, just to be at peace with ourselves, be at peace with the moment, and being at peace with others, and being present at the same time. Then I think this can be a source of joy. And even when it's things are difficult, our minds can be calm. We can have a certain degree of calmness, and if we have mindfulness, acceptance, carefulness, caring, these qualities that are really essential on the path. These are important elements of the path, but particularly mindfulness is always useful. It's a balancing factor amongst many elements, many like the enlightenment factors. There's a teaching the Buddha says this: mindfulness is always it's always useful, and it helps balance the other elements. There's a enlightenment factors start with mindfulness. This is the beginning, and then investigation of qualities, energy, passaddhi would be the peacefulness, then passaddhi, then there's, or it's translated as tranquility, samadhi, I'm missing one, upekkha,
Equanimity.
equanimity, upekkha, yeah. So all of those working together, starting out with mindfulness. And then in the 5 spiritual faculties, mindfulness also is a balancing factor. So if we live in accordance with reality, having mindfulness as our basis, we can be at peace with the present moment, with whatever is occurring. So this is just a brief reflection on mindfulness. Just be peaceful, just be present, and I'll share that for your reflection. So is there any questions or comments on this, what we just spoke about?
Questions?
Do you have a comment? Because I could talk more about other factors, but
Well, I think just staying rooted in that mindfulness factor gives the capacity for all the other factors to grow. Without that mindfulness, then there's kind of this flitting, pulling. The body, and I really appreciate that sense of coming into the body, because when I'm out of alignment with the peacefulness, the tranquility, and then the energizing factors, the discernment and the
I forgot PT. That's what I forgot.
PT, yeah,
PT is
joy.
Joy. You can't forget PT.
Let's not forget PT's joy.
Yeah.
But it's the mindfulness that tells me, go towards joy, go towards peace. What is it that's got me a little out of whack? And
so that's the balancing, the directing, yeah.
And just so focusing on the mindfulness and feeling it in the body as the palette, the space of knowing, where am I off? Am I not coming into stilling? Am I very, very agitated and thinking mind, question, or am I so still that I've lost touch with, why am I doing this? I've just gone soft in the head. So that's why mindfulness is so important.
Yeah, there's the in the Bojjhangas they have there's a one sutta on fire, and there's like you want to have a fire that's not out of control, and you want to be able to start a fire in the first place. So the Buddha says, I suppose there is it's a wet, sappy log, and you try to light that. Would you be successful?
No,
So if you're sleepy, if you're feeling kind of sluggish, and then you try to bring up the factors of tranquility, factors of equanimity, samadhi, that's what happens. Fall asleep on the cushion, or you can't focus, or something like that. What are you doing? And on the other hand, if you have this blazing fire and you don't want it to get out of control, do you add more firewood to it?
Squirrel. No.
So we have a big picture window with trees and things outside, and the squirrels come around. But anyway, so there's a blazing fire, and then we got a
That's
mental
my mental.
school.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's that.
blazing fire.
That's the kind of
And
fire
you
that
add-
I have is.
You add firewood to it, and then what happens?
You burn.
Might get out of control.
Yeah.
So you don't add the virya, the energy, or the piti. You don't add the more energizing qualities if your mind is agitated. So you then instead you would use the more calming factors. But mindfulness is always useful. That's where that at the end of that sutta, the Buddha says mindfulness is always useful. So it's that balancing that helps you, like you were talking about, directing the mind one way or another, what's needed, to understand what's needed right now. So do you have a question or comment?
I think mindfulness of the body is super useful because the body is living in the present. Like my mind's either in the past or the future, so checking back in gives me all the information I need. Otherwise, I'm actually not getting information. I'm just getting ideas about information. I'm not actually getting information. I mean, ideas about information. So, yeah, it's a big practice for me too.
Yeah, that curiosity as opposed to
Yeah.
a stuckness of past musings about a topic. It's like actually curious about this moment and
Yeah.
and the
Otherwise, it's a story.
otherwise it's a story.
It's a story about something. It's not something. It's a story about something. But
So
it's supposed to be in the something rather than the story about something, I think. For me anyway, I'm really good at making stories. And seeing squirrels. Yeah, exactly that word yesterday. Squirrels. It's like
Yep.
I walked into Wajimaya yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good code word for us to use. Squirrel.
So yeah, the squirrels running. I
Right.
had when I was on a meditation retreat, I had the mind was just going, and it was like a squirrel in a cage, and the squirrel was like gnawing at the bars and running around in circles and things like that. And then I thought, oh, how about if I just let the squirrel out of the cage? And then I visualized opening up the cage and the squirrel. I was at Forest Refuge, the squirrel running off into the forest. And I thought, yeah, just let it go. And so that actually helped me because I did visualize the squirrel and then letting it go. But then that kind of release, it's also something we can do where I can just let go of this. Can I really let go of my plans for the future or my concerns about what I did in the past, or so can I just let that go and then be present? Let that squirrel, it can just let the squirrel run by, even just You know, a lot of times it's just, if we try to latch on to the squirrel or chase after the squirrel, then we get into a lot of trouble. And so much of our lives, we've wasted chasing after squirrels, you know, it's just like, we don't, but we can realize, oh, I can just let the squirrel go. Just let it go. Just be in the present. Just be content with what is happening at this very moment instead of trying to reinvent our past or yeah, getting lost in the story, which isn't accurate anyway. Our memories of the past are just a fabrication. We choose to remember certain things. Like yesterday, we heard somebody who was a teacher, and they had the biography, and it was sounding just like, oh, this person is so impressive. And then I thought, well, I could just choose certain aspects of my life and have that on a biography, and that would sound very impressive. I don't have to talk about how I mucked around or anything like that. I could just, so we choose our stories, or I could wallow around in my misery of my past, of how terrible it was or something like that. Like no one wants to hear that. But we do. I mean, we do that too. We either hang on to what are the miserable parts of our life and just rehash it over and over again, and my life was miserable, or how stellar I am or something like that. And this is all identity. We just, yeah, and we get caught up in these identities, and it's not reality, it's a fabrication, something
Pancha,
it's
papancha.
well, no, we get a view of ourselves as one thing or another.
Yeah.
People have different views of the self view, and then they're
Yeah.
locked into that self view. And this is my history, and these are my credentials, my credentials. So you have to believe me. Because I have these credentials. So, yeah, or you have to feel sorry for me and help me and listen to all my woe.
Mhm.
So I might have that identity too. So everybody's got the story. Like, can I mention your names? You want to stay anonymous? Okay, so
I don't know what you're gonna say.
I just say, I was just saying, you were talking about the stories.
Yeah.
How we all talk, not just you, we all talk about these stories, the story of our life. We're the star.
Yeah.
We're the center of these stories. And this is what we carry around. And so then the mindfulness is out the window that way. We're just lost in a story rather than what's going on right now. What's really happening.
That mindfulness, though, can be the key when we catch, oh, I'm in a story. Bringing the mindful, not like pushing the story away or pulling deeper into it,
Or
but
denying that you've been
denying
lost
that
in a story for half an hour.
but doing the body-based mindfulness at that moment and saying, what does telling a story feel like? What is the state of this mind, heart, body experience when I've been in storytelling for 2 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours or this lifetime? What does it feel like? And the mindfulness of that can help me to root in it. And then also to remember to notice that when you're in the period where you've got a sense of just flowing with, being settled, happy, peaceful, free, calm, bringing mindfulness to that, note the body, mind, heart sensations at that time, And having done that repeatedly, I can now just drop into the heart mind and say, would there be something more peaceful? And my chitta, my mind, my heart, and it knows then what factors of awakening to like cultivate and bring up and give more energy or more direction or lean into to get the balance back. And then I find I'm grounded, I'm spacious, my heart is warm, there's this sense of smiling connection, and I'm not feeling assaulted by all of the stories that are around me, or the ones the squirrels in my head. The squirrels in my head, pounding, where's my nuts? Feed me.
I'm happy that the squirrels are outside.
Yeah.
I gladly release the squirrels.
Do you have experience with this you'd like to bring in, or optional?
Not this time.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing practice, and yeah, to bringing the awareness to the story is a form of mindfulness, like you were saying, and it's like and how we care for that. That's another thing too. We go, oh, I see I've been in this story for a while. And then I see, oh, that story was a sad story, or disturbing story, or a happy story, whatever it was. But then how do I care for my heart at that time and just say, oh, okay, a lot of times I have these, if I'm especially a long retreat or something, because I've let go of a lot of responsibility, then things come up in the mind. And so memories from 40 years ago come up. And then I go, oh, why did I do that? Or where is that person? Or whatever it is. And then I think, oh, this happened 40 years ago. And I think, oh, I don't need to be concerned about that anymore. But that feeling still rises somehow. We still emotion comes up, regret comes up, or upset comes up, or anger comes up, or longing comes up, and we can bring our awareness to that, and then just hold it with the mindfulness, and then just say, oh, am I ready to let go of this now? Am I ready to let go? I haven't thought about this for years and years and years, and now it's coming up with there's sometimes a lot of strength of emotion comes up at that time, because the memory and the emotion are tied in together, and they come up together, and then we go, oh, okay, that we can just start to pull it apart a little bit, just kind of let it release. If they're tangled up together, then or we start feeding the emotion, oh, well, why did I do that? And how can I, why I was such a terrible person, and blah, 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 whatever it is. I just say, oh, I can see, yeah, I made a mistake in the past. I haven't done anything like that in a long time. I've given up that kind of behavior. And maybe I need to say, I'm sorry to somebody in my past or something, if I could find them or something, but I have no idea if they're even alive anymore. So can I just forgive myself? And so we can just kind of gently just bring the emotion. Often the emotion will linger, the memory will kind of go to the side, start to fade away. The emotion's there. And then we can allow that to fade. Just bringing kindness to our hearts, kindness to and just maybe sending metta to those that we might have harmed, or that we still have resentment towards. I mean, like some people, like, I don't know if they're still alive, and then a memory comes up, and old resentment comes up and it's like, whoa. It's because the mind has a tendency to allow things to percolate up, I think, especially when we're doing long retreat periods, and then those things can emerge. And so then we can just, okay, this is something I can care for right now, and just and let it pass, let go of it. So this is and then bringing our awareness back to maybe our object of meditation, the body, the breath. But if something's like really like strong coming up, we need to not just kind of, no, I'm not supposed to be thinking that right now because I'm supposed to be doing mindfulness of the breath. Go away, memory. You can't. That's not skillful. It's just gonna make a
Yeah.
it's just, and it's like a, yeah, so that would just more, it kind of be like adding the more fuel to the
Yeah.
fire rather than like scattering, if you want to put a campfire out, you scatter the logs, you don't pile them up and start putting debris on
Stick 'em
top
in
to
the-
cover it over,
I'm gonna stick them in my tent so that I won't be dealing with them right now. You're creating a problem.
I think for me, when I name it too, like if
Yeah.
I come back to the body and name the sensation, then it creates a distance already. So once you're out of the story, the me isn't in the center anymore, right? So
Right.
the me dissolves, the self is gone. So then it's just like, oh, that's a little bit tight right there. That's a little squeezy, or that feels like whatever. And then it just becomes like more like mechanical almost.
Yeah.
And then because it's mechanical, you don't have to like and
Judge it.
just really like
Right.
use your mindfulness to stay out of the story about it and just really get like granular about how it like this the sensation part, then it does just fade. I mean, really, it does. Do it enough times, it's going to fade. It's not going to last like very long. So you're 100% sure sooner or later this is going to stop because I didn't feel like this 10 minutes ago. So for sure, in 10 minutes, I won't feel like this. I use that.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
well, however long it takes, but
or
yeah.
however long it takes.
however long,
for
but
sure.
it's gonna fit, it'll, yeah, and if you're very attentive, you'll see it's changing.
Right.
When you first feel it, maybe it's like really strong,
Right.
and then, like you're saying, it would start to fade.
Right.
And maybe it'll rear up again. Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
I've let it go. I think I've let it go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wow, why did I say that? And then it's like,
surprise.
and it goes, but then it takes less time again to untangle it. Yeah, I go, oh, there it is again. Oops. Uh, yeah, and then that maybe that is something that needed extra care because we just really, at that point in our life, we just did shove it. We did say, I don't want to deal with this,
Right.
or it was such a difficult time, I couldn't deal with it. And so we have the opportunity when to be able to care for these things. Even like yeah, this is even when things are going on and it's difficult, if we bring our awareness to it instead of like checking out and not wanting to deal with it and trying to suppress it. It's a skill, like you're saying that, oh, you know now how that's gonna start to unravel, and you don't have to be concerned that this has arisen. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a really important aspect of this path, is to be really honest with ourselves, for one thing. It's a honest with what's arising, honest with the, like even the present moment, like if I'm feeling things like jealousy that other people are getting the attention, whatever it is, and then and then and then I say, oh wow, there's jealousy. Isn't isn't that interesting? Oh, this is conceit. I'm comparing myself with other people. This is the in the Buddhist teaching, they talk about the conceit of I am. I am better. I am worse than. I am equal. I am equal to. And so, and then so I want to be as equal as they are, and they're getting all the attention.
Some people are more equal than others.
And some people are more equal than others. Yeah. And so so this is conceit, you know, even equality is conceit. Because I want to be equal to that one who's in charge. It's like, or but and then I remember hearing about these three kinds of conceit, and there's more permutations. But even inferiority, feeling that you're less than, is a type of conceit because it's an identity.
Mm.
We identify as the low person, and oh, oh, there was a cartoon, and there's they're Catholic priests or something, and they're sitting in the, I don't know what, some kind of temple or something, and they're sitting together, and the one priest says to the other, they're monks, and you know, like probably they have the heads shaved in a particular way and robes and things like that. And then he's like, he's saying, ah, when I was in business, I was the most successful. And now that I'm a monk, I'm the most spiritual. So, and I said, and I'm the most humble. So there's that, you know, or you know, I'm the lowest one. I'm the most you know, sometimes with the idea of humility, and you're lower than everyone else, and you're uh yeah, that's still an identity. So we have to be aware of those things. So aware of where the mind goes when we're with other people, and how that comparison. So to be able to let go of that, that source of identity is like where I am in the scheme of things, and people, and that's always in flux too. It's always changing. Uh, uh, I thought saw even like Jane Goodall was observing the chimpanzees, and she saw the whole hierarchical thing with the chimpanzees, and then because of their exposure to human beings, some of them got polio. So the alpha male got polio, and so he was disabled. And then the beta, the second one in line, just took over right away. And there's always this jockeying for and competing with, and this is in the human realm. I mean, it's very obvious in the animal realm, where they're always fighting for, you know, or or they know, like with dogs and wolves, they know their position. But if they see an opportunity, they'll fight for the more superior, you know, so-called position. So this is in humanity. It's always changing too, but it's it's maybe not so subtle. Maybe not so subtle. I don't know. Yeah, but it's more complex. I think we can say that, and then it's not spoken about so much. But I mean, or you're not going to talk to the superior about it. I don't know, but psychologically, it does have an impact on our identity, how we think of ourselves, and then this constant comparison. And so this is what the Buddha talks about, source of conceit, of the conceit of I am. Asmi mana is a conceit in this comparison. So we can be, if we bring awareness to those kind of things too, and how that's self-harming and harming to others as well. So, yeah. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Just agreeing with you.
Yeah. So, well, if there's, should we end? We don't have to end on conceit. I think to end with the idea of just bringing our awareness to whatever is arising and just being honest with ourselves, and then that can be a source of peacefulness and joy, just being present. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So thank you all for your participation. And we can, those who would like to could pay respects. Thank you. Mindful. You're being mindful. I was trying to be mindful of the water too, but help. Help is always good. Araham Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivate Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Thank you all for joining us.